Let's get into it at the top of the agenda. Where does the round commence? Well, that's in Adelaide tomorrow night. It is a pressure cooker environment. Carlton are off the short, sharp break with a lot of short, sharp material coming their way as they face up to Port Adelaide.
What are you doing if you're Michael Voss?
Panicking.
What's happened to my proud club? Where's the fight?
They're not being Carlton.
The club is overly emotional, bordering on destructive.
There needs to be change. We're all about the players and coaches, but I think this is a change that needs to happen, and I think it needs to happen ASAP.
If they don't think that Voss is the man, as they've done before, they'll rip the Band-Aid off.
You can lean in or you can lean out.
My belief right now is that is starting to happen.
Vossi, he needs a miracle right now.
We didn't really have enough time to delve into the game in its entirety. It's sort of one of those weeks where you've got to move forward pretty quick. So we felt like we touched on the most important things, and now we've got to be able to fix our eyes in on Port.
Feel some sympathy for Michael Voss and the heat he's under, which you felt before.
Yeah, I have. Michael knows what the industry's like, and we both know, and everyone who's in this game knows that you have your time where you've just got to stand up and you've just got to do your job. It's hard not to get distracted, but you can't let that happen.
Have you spoken to Graham, Brian or the board about your position at the moment?
They're outstanding leaders, and they're only interested in alignment, and they're only interested in solving it together, and that's the support I feel.
They're not dissimilar to ourselves. There's so many clubs who are in the bracket that we're both in, and we haven't had the most consistent season that we would expect.
Speculation about what's happening or what is happening. We're probably focused on the most important things to get some correction in a couple of important areas, and also reinforce some of the other things we've been doing a hell of a lot of work on to help us obviously get the result tomorrow night.
We're no different to Carlton, and I'm sure they're getting on a run like we're trying to do. So it's a damn tough competition. You don't get to do it perfectly all the time.
A night of fierce pressure and impending consequence. It's the 6 and 8 bracket. It's 10th versus 12th. Realistically, Gaz, one of these teams would have to go 8 and 1 with the percentages that they've got to cross over. So that's not really the story. Although if we did have the wild card, the race for 10th would be pretty lively, and these two would be right in it. So what have they done at selection? There are moves to be made, and 4 have been dropped on either side of it. Mead, Finlayson, Burton and Moraes lose their place for Port. Lear's back from injury. Evans, Jackson's going to play his 4th game, and Travis Boak, who's thus far been restricted to 7. And on the Carlton side of things, they have omitted Durden, Pittonet, Binns and Carroll. Boyd, who's been sparingly used, which has been a little bit curious, Lewis Young. And then there are 2 debutants, Billy Wilson and Flynn Young. Billy's pick 34 from a couple of years ago, and Flynn was from the mid-season draft, a lad from the Geelong Football League initially through Werribee, who's a lively forward.
Fix it, will you, Finn? Fix it. He kicked a couple and had 19 touches last week. 6th and 7th debutant for Carlton, so I don't mind that. I don't mind young kids. It gives everyone a bit of a lift, but it won't be the answer. That therein won't be the fix to the problem. The fix to the problem will lie with their leaders, as it always does, and that's why you're a leader of a footy club. That's why you're put into that exalted position, and the fixation on the victory can't be the priority, Jared. It's not about whether you win or lose, as crazy as that sounds. It's about the effort and then the system that they try and put in place. So from the playing group, they control effort within. So the coach can say try harder, but that's up to you. He can't get out and drag you by the ear. So the first thing I'll be doing is watching effort from a Carlton point of view. And then the next thing is how are they going to play and how are they going to try to play. Are they going to continue to put their eggs in the contest and clearance basket and the in tight and the in close and back that in, which hasn't worked that well for them? Or are they going to take the game on a bit and go down swinging? So, and then you've got this opposition here who are just hanging on by the skin of their teeth as well. So, no, I think it's morbidly interesting tomorrow night.
Yes, yeah, it is. So Voss faced all those questions today, as you must in these circumstances, but on a 5-day turnaround where he conceded that there really hadn't even been time to review the game in its entirety. They just sort of picked the moments of most consequence to have a look at. There's not any time to indulge any of that this week, to contemplate it. So he quite rightly has shut it down in the post-match and shut it down again today. And it magnifies what the response looks like. Is this a team that is beaten down and broken, or is it a team that's going to rise up and make amends for its performance last week?
Yeah, and that can happen, as we saw, within the 4 quarters.
Yes.
Or it can happen week to week. And they've been in this position before. We've talked about them in this parlous position before, and they found a way to get themselves back competitive. Now, I'm not holding out enormous hope for the fact that Carlton will win tomorrow night, but I reckon there'll be a response from effort. And if there's not, with all the speculation through the week, and we know we're not in the business of sacking coaches, but there are plenty out there that want to, if there's not a response from an effort point of view, well, then the question about the coach and the players becomes a bit more pointy. He got a response at 3/4 time. Now, is that a response because all a little too late? Was it a wake up that he was hard on them and that resonated? We'll find out. But if you don't get a response in effort, which will be evident for everyone to see, well, then those that are making those decisions will look back and go, okay, this is where it's at.
So effort is sort of the bare minimum, isn't it? And then there's method. I hope they're able to play in the manner that they did that last quarter, because I presume that's what they're trying to build into their game, and it's been evident every now and then, but only every now and then.
Yeah, and don't we see that a lot in footy? You know, when it's out of reach and it's the unwinnable situation, then you throw caution to the wind and play with some dare and flair. So exactly, let's see that from the first bounce. So my mind takes me back to some pretty impressive and impactful wins from Carlton over there in Adelaide at various stages over the last year. I can't recall. I think there was a Port Adelaide game that Cripps at 3/4 time lifted them across the line. So So when we talk about effort and then method and style, so don't be in no doubt that we're looking at Wiedering, Cripps, Curnow, McGovern, Akers. That's exactly where we're looking. Yeah. So the other guys who have played, and the other experienced players, Jack Silvani and all those guys, but all the kids that are coming in, they're going to have an experience they'll never forget. We'll make it so from a senior point of view.
And Port Adelaide have fluctuated all year, haven't they? They put together a couple and then they were totally outplayed by Sydney and absolutely flattered by their own estimation by the way the scoreboard looked. So what they're still capable of in this season, what their sense of purpose has been highly questionable all the way through. And if they were to drop this game at home, they limp further to the out of mathematical contention.
Yeah, they've been a hard side to get a beat on because of the situation with their coach, and we sort of suspected it early on that it was going to be hard if it got beyond the possibility of playing final. So I don't really know what to expect from them. So hold your breath and see where you go. And there's enough talent in that Port Adelaide side for them to make it really difficult for Carlton, I would think, but we're not sure which one's going to turn up.
So no Wines for the time. Brendan Lukosius is making his return in the SANFL, so they might get him back in the next couple of weeks.